Are you an adventurer looking to take your hunt to the next level? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to East Meets West Hunt with your host, Beau Martonik.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the second episode of the Mountain Buck Monday series of the podcast. And on this podcast, I will be sharing a mountain buck story from one of our listeners and do a quick and dirty overview of creating a bulletproof hunt plan for DIY out-of-state whitetail hunts. Mountain Buck Monday episodes will be released on Mondays throughout deer season, covering a specific topic in a short, to-the-point manner. You can also find these topics covered in these podcasts in written form over at freerangeamerican.us. It might take a few weeks or so for some of these to get up on their website, but they will be up there shortly. So Free Range American is owned by Black Rifle Coffee, and they have a lot of really good stuff there. So definitely go over and subscribe for some of my work, as well as a lot of other very talented writers. So this podcast is presented by Spartan Forge, and the Spartan Forge app is available soon. It should be available at any time now, and having some issues with the App Store there. But you'll have mapping, you'll have AI data, so you have artificial intelligence data. You're going to have so many different things packed into one app for a very, very low rate compared to a lot of the competitors. And if you use the code eastmeetswest, you'll save 25%. And you can get more information at spartanforge.ai. Tethered is a company founded on the principles of educating the hunting community on saddle hunting while creating the most innovative, lightweight, safe products for saddle hunting. Head over to tetherednation.com to check out more of what they have to offer and to learn about saddle hunting. Maven is building the highest quality optics at half the price of their competitors through their direct-to-consumer business model, and they just want to create the best optics for the job, period. If you want to check out some of Maven's options over on their website and you decide that you want to give them a shot, use the coupon code eastmeetswest-gift. You get a free gift with any full-price optics order at mavenbuilt.com. And last but not least, GoWild is a free social community built by hunters for hunters. And if you join the GoWild app today, you get $10 just given to you to spend on gear in their gear shop just for setting up the account. And you can check out my gear list under my profile there, which is just under my name, Beau Martonik. And if you use the code eastmeetswest, you'll save 10% off of all hunting gear that's on their website. So definitely check that out, download the app, and yeah. So this week's Mountain Buck Monday story comes from Adam Tucker, and this is a really cool story. So Adam said, I had the best season of my life hunting in the North Georgia mountains last year. On November 28th, I was hunting in a remote area on public land and harvested this beautiful 9-point. Seeing he had a broken tine, I knew there was probably another big buck in there. I hunted it really hard without seeing a buck until I got COVID-19 on December 20th. While I was out of work for being sick, I harvested this 8-point with a broken tine on December 23rd. He showed up in the same spot around the same time as my 9-point did, which was 9:30 a.m. Good bucks are very hard to come by where I hunt. It was a season I'll never forget. Adam definitely worked his butt off to be able to have these opportunities. And if you head over to East Meets West Hunt on Instagram and East Meets West Outdoors on Facebook, you can check out the photos of both these bucks. So congratulations to Adam. It's awesome. I'm glad you shared that story with me. And anybody else has some Mountain Buck Monday stories, they're starting to flow in again pretty heavy. So send them in and I'll share them in the order that I receive them. So love sharing these stories. All right, so jump into today's topic. Traveling to hunt whitetails is really a pretty incredible way to experience new places, chase bigger deer, and have a great time with your friends and really just overall grow as a whitetail hunter. So I started traveling to hunt in 2014 when I first went to Ohio with my dad and some friends. And honestly, I haven't taken my foot off the gas ever since. Hunting your back 40 or any public land close to home is great, but I feel like I've become a better hunter as a result of traveling to other states and figuring things out for the first time. Traveling across state lines requires some more planning than your typical backyard hunt, but it can be stressful going to a brand new place a long way from home for, a week at a time. So going on an out-of-state DIY whitetail hunt will, without a doubt, result in some misfortunes and unplanned events at some point. So situations with hunting pressure, low deer density, quality of deer, weather, and so on will come up like more often than you'd like. And the most successful hunters, they find ways around these obstacles. And I've found that being organized with my gear and having a solid hunt plan reduces stress and helps me adapt on the fly with ease. So creating a hunt plan will not only keep you organized, but it will also become a blueprint for your hunt itself. And I create hunt plans for all of my hunts, whether it's a western elk hunt or whitetail hunt, and really anything in between. And hunt plans can be as simple or as detailed as you'd like, but in my opinion, they should have some key components for success. So when it comes to an out-of-state hunt, I think you should choose 3 to 5 larger areas that are your focal points. So, for example, say you're going to hunt southern Ohio and you're going to choose, this state forest, this national forest, or maybe the forest is so big that you can choose, there's 2 larger areas within it. But anyways, you want to have 3 to 5 areas as your focal points. And you can find these areas, these places by aerial scouting on the Spartan Forge app or other mapping applications, and even better by getting boots on the ground scouting. And like I said, they can be state forests, national forests, private lands that are open to public hunting, which I've found to be really great in some of these out-of-state hunts, or multiple private properties that you've gained access to. Some people have leases or get permission, which seems to be harder to come by, but whatever it is, creating a hunt plan can help you with that. So while e-scouting these locations, it's important to mark the waypoints of access locations, campgrounds, food sources, pinch points, terrain features, and really any other key areas of interest. Typical e-scouting stuff, it's pretty standard, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on that in this episode. But where you find success in your planning is not just by marking that stuff in your app, which is super important, but also adding this information into Google Docs or a Microsoft Word document that you can save for offline use and print out to keep with you. So this is how I break up the document with the following components within it. So I'll start off by each hunting area will have these components under it. So as I said, there's 3 to 5 that I'll have, and then underneath it I'll have an option or a section that says places to stay. So your place to sleep at night will depend on your budget and also the experience you're looking for. These locations can be a hotel, they can be an Airbnb cabin, a campground with electric hookups for your camper, or a primitive campsite to set up your tent, whether that be truck camping or backpacking in. So under that places to stay, you want to log the address or any other relevant information needed for that specific location. And if you're going the luxurious route of a hotel, the Airbnb or campground, make sure you have all those details ironed out well ahead of time and have these places booked, never assuming that they will have the availability. The next section I'll have is specific hunting locations. So within the larger hunting area, you break down these key areas of interest that you want to scout or hunt. So using the 3 to 5 location rule of thumb is also applicable to specific locations as well. This can be a description rather than writing down grid coordinates. So you have the grid coordinates, in your mapping application, but this is where you list these in order of priority and importance. So when you're actively hunting and you need to change a pace, it will take the guesswork out of where you're going to go next. Things will come up that might change this priority, but it'll at least give you that framework necessary to have multiple options. So within that specific hunting location, you can log any pertinent details that might be easy to forget. from your e-scouting that you did, months prior. So some of the details can include food sources. So, any crop fields that might be on some of the lower private grounds, food plots, logging cuts, oak flats, and then bedding areas, could be thickets that you can identify in the map, points of ridges, additional cover, and then potential setups or areas to check out based on wind direction. So I'll have that wind direction information in there and what I'm assuming. So pinch points, travel routes, community scrapes. That's if you get boots on the ground and you can find those, vegetation and terrain edges, and then access points and routes. So how will you enter and leave these areas? Make sure you have that kind of planned out ahead of time, and then plans to scout or hunt. So any additional notes on your strategy to hunt and scout the area. So after repeating these notes for all of your hunting areas, you'll have a solid framework to your actual hunt plan. And the next step is to create an important address list that you can keep in your hunt plan, in your truck, and I keep it also in my first aid kit. So your important address list should include, at a minimum, the nearest hospital and urgent care. So this is always at the top of my list, and although you hope to never need it, it's better to have it than not. So as some of you may know, on my recent mule deer hunt in Colorado, unfortunately I had to refer to this list to find a nearest hospital. The next is nearest food and grocery stores. So whether it's needing groceries for camp or to find a place to celebrate killing a buck with a cold beer and some cheap wings, you'll need to know where the nearest food and grocery stores are. And if you really like celebrating, then it might not be a bad idea to list a liquor store as well. The next one would be butcher shops. So I found that butcher shops don't always have their businesses on Google, and they can be tough to find online. So utilize a local taxidermist to help you locate a butcher shop, because many times the butcher shops will let you rent cooler space even if you want to process your own game meat at home. So it's a good idea to have that as a backup plan, even if you plan on doing all the work yourself. And then the next one is taxidermist. So with CWD regulations restricting what you can take back across state lines, having a taxidermist at the ready is a pretty good idea. I would recommend calling them ahead of time and getting their cell phone number. Many times they are hunters themselves and will be out in the woods at the same time you are. So being able to text or call them can really help streamline that process. So if you have a taxidermist back home that you prefer, many of the taxidermists can still help you prepare the cape, the skull, and whatever else is needed to take that back home with you. And the next one is gas stations. So depending on the remoteness of your hunting area, gas stations may not necessarily be around every corner. So listing the nearest gas stations and their addresses will ensure that you're not driving in the wrong direction with that precious last gallons of fuel that you have. And then the next one on my list of important addresses, hotels. So even if you're camping, sometimes a hot shower and a recharge in a somewhat comfy bed will bring up your spirits enough to keep pushing until that final bell rings of your hunt. So having that listed is something I always like to put on there. Laundromat. So scent control is important in the whitetail woods, and after days of hunting and camping, you'll probably start to ripen a little bit. And so bring your quarters and utilize a local laundromat at night. And if you're lucky, they might even have a shower too. And this was on elk hunt, but in Idaho, the one laundromat that we used had showers that you could put quarters into it and get a nice, it was like a 3-minute shower. So bring a lot of quarters, but it was nice to be able to have that. Emergency contacts. So list your own personal emergency contacts here with their phone numbers so that your hunting partners can call if things go haywire and somehow something happened to you, and it needs to be straightforward, easy for them to follow, and it's just a good thing to add in there. Like I said, I keep this list of important contacts in my truck, in my first aid kit, and then with my hunt plan in either my backpack or wherever else I might be keeping that at. So with smartphones, I feel people have kind of become lazy with their planning. So you can look anything up on the fly at any time. And that's all fine and dandy until you don't have cell service. In this case, the old-fashioned way of writing things down will make things much easier. Hunts rarely go as planned, so having that bulletproof hunt plan will leave you feeling confident about the roadblocks and allow you to focus on accomplishing your goal. Well, I hope that topic was helpful. And if you have any questions, as always, feel free to reach out. Probably the best way to get at me is through my email, which is just beau@eastmeetswest-hunt.com. Go over, sign up for the email list there, and shoot me an email if you have any questions, or just share your own thoughts on creating a bulletproof hunt plan. I'd always am trying to make my own better and would love to hear some of your ideas. So thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of East Meets West Hunt with your host, Beau Martonik. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit eastmeetswesthunt.com, Facebook at East Meets West Outdoors, and Instagram at East Meets West Hunt. If you enjoyed today's episode, please review and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.